I don't want to go into Evan Rodriguez off the hop here.
Why isn't he the
But-
biggest part of the deal?
Yeah, clearly.
I think that's the main piece.
Right.
Raggy.
Because apparently we're
Yeah,
trading
it's a big row.
a third line winger for a first round pick.
I mean, clearly that's what it was, that, and also clearing out cap space. All right, so Brad is not a fan of this deal, if we're just being frank about it, because he has a hard on for Kapanen like no other.
Man, it just doesn't make a lot of sense to me. But
he can't rationally think of the deal.
I want to hear his take verbalized, not just through text. So
I can just repeat the exact same stuff. You want me to just repeat the exact same? We're gonna get into this already, eh?
Yep.
Like, I understand the trading of Kasperi Kapanen. It makes sense. I like Kapanen. I think he's more valuable than what we got back from him. But if you're gonna trade Kasperi Kapanen, address a fucking need. What did this address? You got a draft pick that you don't need. You're at the point where Pittsburgh was, where you need to start getting rid of your picks for guys that can play. Because you need to start winning, not start building for the future, because you have your future. Bringing in these first-round draft picks, you're not going to go draft a guy that's going to play on your first line. He's going to come down to your third and do exactly what Cap did. So what are you helping your team right now with? Erod?
I think you're accumulating assets.
Why?
Yeah. To then prepare for a bigger deal.
Like,
who are you going to flip that 15th overall pick?
Kapanen on the surface is not as sexy as a 15th pick.
NHL ready guy that's played 3 full seasons.
But he's got
20-something goals last year, can play on your power play, your penalty kill, and is probably a top 5 skater in the league.
Who trades a third liner for a first round pick?
He's not a third liner. He's a third line right winger because he's sitting behind Mitch Marner and William Nylander, who are premier players in this league. He's a second line guy on 28 teams in this league.
Okay, but if his production isn't up to base, who's going to trade for him at that rate? No one.
It's not about production. He's only producing what he's producing because he's on the Leafs, where he has to play a limited role. He doesn't get power play time.
They did try him on the second line.
They gave him
on the left side.
Didn't they move Nylander to the left side so he could play the right side?
They had him with Marner.
They did that for,
and it worked. And he was flying when they put him up with Matthews and Nylander for that stretch. And then they switched it to put Marner there and never gave him another shot.
It's ironic for a guy that's finished to have that has no finish.
No breakaway finish. If someone could teach that guy to stop
hockey IQ also?
Not a smart hockey player, but all the talent in the world. If you could just tell him to stop stopping up and just crash the fucking net, he'd score 40. Because he blows by everyone.
If you taught this guy to give a shit out there on the ice, he'd be the best. It's minimal effort. If this guy was just like a motherfucker on the ice, like how he is sometimes, why isn't he a pest all the time? Why is Jake DeBrusk more of a pest than Kasperi Kapanen?
Because Jake DeBrusk is a piece of shit.
Well, shouldn't Kapanen be a piece of shit?
But Kapanen has a lot more talent than Jake DeBrusk has. DeBrusk is just a smarter hockey player.
Which is why
I feel like that gets factored into the price point. Like at the end of the day,
bottom line,
you can have all the talent of the world, but
you could have taken him and Janssen and got yourself literally anything you wanted, basically on the defensive end. Instead, you went out and you got a first round pick.
Yeah,
but I feel to the teams you're probably going to try and acquire a defenseman from, it's more valuable to them to have a first round pick in exchange than a guy with a $3 million price tag who's only going to put you up 50 points.
If you go to Anaheim and be like, here's Kasperi Kapanen, they don't need Kapanen right now. They need a first round pick.
They need everything right now. They need that first round pick to turn into what Kasperi Kapanen is.
What is he?
You know what he can bring. You've
seen Kasperi Kapanen?
You've seen what he can do in the NHL when he's playing in a top 6 role.
Have we?
Yes. Last season he scored 20 something.
20. No.
That was 2 years ago.
20. And then this season he had a terrible start and then popped off for 13 goals in the middle section of games. If you put him in a top 6 role, he's going to produce. You're hoping that your 15th overall pick turns into Kasperi Kapanen.
How did Kasperi Kapanen have 14 penalty minutes in the playoffs?
He probably got a 10. I don't remember it, but he definitely got a 10 at some point.
That's crazy. If it's all minors.
No, there's no way. He didn't have 7.
No, I don't doubt that.
So we had a 5 for
I'm
fighting.
I'm assuming he got a 10 and then 2 minors. Would make sense. Because I don't recall the 10, but
okay, under the lease, can you agree that Kasperi Kapanen was never going to reach a ceiling?
Yeah, because he's stuck in a third line spot. I'll give you that.
Not even that. I think he needed that was a guy that if you're talking about change of scenery, type of guys, he
hit his peak with
the number one guy because he felt I think he felt too comfortable here. Honestly,
maybe.
I think you need a kick in the ass to go play with Crosby in Pittsburgh. You're gonna put up 30 goals and it's gonna be way better for you. But also you're not as good as the assets that we got back. If they think Hollander's a legit guy that can be a future third line center for you, not next year, obviously, but in the future, if he's at least your third
not in the
line
next
center,
3 years, because who's he taking out? He's not taking out Kerfoot.
Yeah, he could.
You've signed him to a lot more money than you're going to sign this kid for.
Yeah, but Kerfoot's contract's movable.
But that's proven NHL talent in your third line. I'd rather that than some kid that you have no idea what he's going to be.
Yeah, but you're talking about you wouldn't get NHL assets for Alex Kerfoot or at least future picks because you got a guy that can plug in. Brain, I think you're.
But you're going to take Kerfoot signed at a third line contract dollar value. So Cap signed at a third line contract dollar value. What do you need to plug in?
For only 2 more years.
It's not a move you needed to make, and it doesn't make a hell of
Kerfoot's also a center, though.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Kerfoot can also play the 3. Kapanen, I get he penalty kills, and I get he's fast, but
he wasn't the first line penalty killer either.
That's what I mean.
He was the third best penalty killer on the team. No, I know. Hyman and Marner
were the first one out there every time.
He wasn't. Hyman and Marner were.
I'm with Amir on this one.
He's all right.
He was the third best penalty killer.
Having this argument with you two because you guys are hard set on that side, but if you watch what this kid brings in terms of tools, this trade does not make any sense to help the Leafs.
But it's no. It's a move that gets you assets to make moves for the future.
Let me just look at this from a fundamental standpoint.
Yeah.
Let me ask that again though. For the 15th overall pick, you're telling me Pittsburgh could not have gone out and got a better player for the 15th overall pick than Kasperi Kapanen?
Maybe in this draft. Not that'll play in the next 5 years.
No. I'm saying with that asset, you're telling me they could not have gone and acquired a better player than Kasperi Kapanen.
Oh, you mean just straight up trading that 15th overall pick?
Correct.
Morrow's 100% correct.
From that standpoint alone, Dubas.
I don't know, man. The market's weird on picks. Ryan Hartman went for a first round pick plus.
But that's what I mean.
Ryan Hartman's trash.
And considering the fact that all Dubas was trying to do was move salary out of the team, and he got himself a first-round pick back, he recovered that asset, considering that Kapanen, like you said, he's talented. He's probably worth more than what they're giving up in terms of the asset. But in the end, that pick is so desirable by teams that they're now going to try and market that to. So in the end, I think it's still very good trade for Dubas.
We are a week and a half into being able to trade players. There are still 8 teams you literally cannot trade with right now. Why are you so hard pressed to get rid of a guy like Kasperi Kapanen?
Because who's giving you a better deal?
Who has proven to have something that'll fit your needs, man. But you don't need a first round pick.
Who among the teams that are left are giving you a better deal than this?
There's so many good D-men on the back end that could use help up front.
Yeah, but why would
nobody's giving you a D-man straight up for Kasperi Kapanen? I'm sorry, but that's just flat out not a 1-for-1 kind of deal that works.
The rumors on the market for Kapanen were huge. You're telling me there's not one trade
or
one team left that'll give it to you? There's been numerous interest from Pittsburgh, and there's 3 other teams already. You're a week and a half in. You're telling me
what defenseman from Pittsburgh? What defenseman from Pittsburgh would you want?
You're not getting the one I want, but it's not even just Pittsburgh, man. Exactly.
But that's what I mean.
Take a look around. I would rather have a second pairing D-man than another first round pick.
You can go out and sign that.
You can go trade that first round pick.
Who can you go and sign with that $3 million? That $3 extra million.
Radko
you can go take. Yeah.
Literally, I've said it for the past 2 weeks on this podcast.
Brody.
Radko Gudas is your guy.
Literally anyone.
Isn't Brody lefty?
Yeah, but he plays
exactly
right. He plays the right side. Okay.
I don't like it. I just think they didn't address a single one of their needs, and they definitely could have just kept on waiting until they found something that was suitable for what they wanted. It's like it's a week in, man. Like if teams are this eager to give up first round picks in the first fucking week, there's a reason. Like there's so many teams that need a guy of his skill set on their first or second line, and they caved in a week and a half and got a first round pick out of it.
Okay, look at this. So Kasperi Kapanen is worth 3 wins over 7 seasons is basically the model that I'm seeing. Over historically, the 15th overall pick is worth 4.9. That's 1.9 more than Kasperi Kapanen is.
Let alone the young kid they got, plus a serviceable fourth liner in Evan Rodriguez.
Okay,
right? Like, I still think the value they got is more than fair. I think, like
sure.
My brother,
and they could have got that value on any other team addressing a need that they actually need to fill.
Okay, but if they thought, what do we get?
Was a first I don't think you're. In that draft, I feel like rushing it.
Getting 2 first rounders.
But that's what I mean. I feel like rushing it wouldn't have done the Leafs any good. They had one plan of attack with this deal, and that was to free up cap space and accumulate an asset in return for one of those players. Which I think they got 2 check marks out of that. Not only did they get the asset, but they also got the cap space back. So now you go ahead, like Amir was bringing up before. James Myrtle, through his article, was saying Dubas isn't done yet. And I trust that he's going to go out and get that defense because I understand that is probably the highest priority going into this offseason. But you have to start somewhere, and I think this was it.
Okay.
And Dubas, he said, we're opening to trading the pick. So
they should trade the pick. There's no point in having
like that one. It does not make sense.
If they don't trade that pick, this trade makes 0 sense to me.
I don't know.
If you go out and you draft the 15th overall pick, he's not coming up for 3 years.
Yeah, that's
your
where
window
is
Brent. Closing because you're losing Morgan Riley soon and you're losing Freddie after next year. Your window is real small. Don't go get the 15th overall pick right now.
I don't know. In a deep draft, like
there's no D-man, man. Like none of those guys at the top 15 help you. Like you're not getting a decent D-man until the second round anyways, where you have a pick to begin with. You don't need that pick. If you don't trade that pick, this trade makes 0 sense.
That's where I'm with Brent on this. Like the point of this trade for me is that you're accumulating an asset, which you then need to go and flip with as a package to better your defense.
Look, if you take that pick and you turn it into something next week, I'll take back everything I said. Good job. You did a great job as a GM there. They do have a second round pick this year. But as of right now, yeah, they do. As it sits right now, if you just hang on to that pick and you pick 15th, this trade makes 0 sense to me.
Yeah, it's a wait and see right now.
Something to help you with for even if you had to package him with Janssen and some prospects, man, I would have rather seen that for someone that can actually help your back end as opposed to a 15th overall pick.
I don't think a team is taking on $7 million just like that.
Yeah,
with a combination.
There's a lot of teams with some cap. I mean,
which is why I mean, like freeing up $3.2 million in cap space is pretty sweet.
And getting a first back for it.
Yeah.
And getting a prospect that you liked in the first round.
In the first place. Yeah. Like when they had apparently they were really high on him back in 2018 draft.
Okay.